Yeah.
By the way, she has one of the best lines in the movie. One of them.
David, I'm sorry for being a b*** so much of the time.
You're not a
Drive-by movies here. You're watching Direct to Dumpster. My name is Blaze.
And I am James.
This week we're talking Slugs.
Slugs is directed by J.P. Simon and comes from the year 1988. Wow, 1988. It actually looks like it's straight from 1978, I'd say. Coming off of Squirm. Maybe it was filmed in 1978. Squirm came out in 76.
So I have to say, I think Squirm might be slight influence here. This is a creature feature from the 80s, but definitely has like throwback vibes. And I think a lot of that comes from, one of the most notorious production studios that's shown up on Direct to Dumpster these days, New World Pictures.
Oh, yes.
So this is another New World Pictures movie, and it's got the vibe of, it feels like a 70s movie. It kind of looks like a 70s movie, and I don't know if that's because they were low on budget, but I think you mentioned that this is a co-production between Spain and the States.
Yes, I was trying to find some fun facts about the movie just because I did highly enjoy this movie. For the most part, there's some dorky stuff, but I thought it was a great time, and I wanted to just read up on some fun facts, but just like couldn't really find anything out there. But one thing I did find was a Spanish American film. Yeah,
and I think a lot of that comes with the technology they may have used. I think, at least from just watching this, it seemed like the entire movie was ADR.
Right. Oh, yeah, it did seem that way. I mean, a couple scenes maybe not, but like,
or they just got better at the ADR.
Yeah, that's actually most likely the realistic case. Yeah,
because for the most part, the film is very bad ADR mostly the entire way through, and I think that comes from maybe the Spanish production. Maybe they're a little low on cash, so they decided to shoot the whole thing MOS, do all the ADR in post. And the problem here is you already go in budget with the actors. There's pretty much, a bunch of people that haven't been in too much, don't really have these successful careers or even the talent to kind of float that.
Yeah.
And then you have them coming in to do ADR. So you got bad acting on top of bad voice acting.
Right, yeah.
I'll take mine rare.
Very good, ma'am.
Here you are.
Thank you, sir. Would you like an hors d'oeuvre?
Thank you.
No, thank you. I'm not very
Whiskey?
hungry today. That's mine. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So it's just the ADR, I don't think it could have been worse. To
the
be honest.
ADR felt like it was people who do English dubs for Spanish soap operas or something like that. That's what it felt like to me. Yeah.
I agree with that, because there was some scenes where I don't think the voices were the actual actors. At least they didn't match. They were like radio voices, almost like, all right, just bring in your buddy Pierre that works at the local radio station.
No one will be able
Jazz,
to tell the difference.
98.1. No one's gonna be able to tell the difference. And there's some characters in this movie where their voice doesn't match whatsoever. And I'm mainly thinking about the couple. There's the woman who makes a salad for her husband.
Yeah.
By the way, she has one of the best lines in the movie. One of them.
David, I'm sorry for being a bitch so much of the time.
You're not a bitch.
She just flat out said that out of nowhere, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, geez.
Like, because we had no context that she even was possibly a bitch.
Yeah.
And then she just says out of nowhere, I'm sorry for being a bitch. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, grade A screenwriting.
Right.
Grade A ADR work, because her voice is insanely deep.
Right. I feel like she was like being shitted on the whole movie too. Everyone's just like, what do you think of her? The main girl asks like her husband. He's like, she's nice, but she drinks way too much. And then like, just like, we need to talk about your drinking. Like, I know I have a drinking problem, but all she does is ask like, let's dance. That's literally the one thing she says. That's like, oh, she must be drunk.
She also has a moment though where she was just asleep all day long because she passed out drinking.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
That was like how to tell if she's a functioning alcoholic or not. She gets home at like maybe noon.
Yeah.
All she's got to do is prepare dinner.
Yeah.
and she passes out. And like, so she's like, I'm just gonna make a salad, even though the husband was, really feeling a steak that night. Didn't work out.
They've been eating too much red meat though.
Yeah, he got a slug salad.
That was disgusting.
But
that's a cool death scene he got there.
I think there's a lot of fun scenes in this movie, and fun, I mean, absolutely disgusting. There's the movie definitely plays the gross out factor with the slugs. And I think it works because it reminds me, many of the death scenes also remind me of like, if you were to put salt on a snail.
Yeah.
It's like, but if it happened to a human, essentially.
Right.
A lot of the death scenes for the humans in this movie are so disgusting
right.
and gross. And slugs really get off easy in this movie.
Yeah.
There's no one just drops a little bit of salt on them.
Yeah. Back to like some of the budget constraints we were talking about though. I felt like 3 scenes specifically were the ones where they went all out for, and maybe that's why, like, because it actually is really cleverly shot, I'd say, where they don't really show the slugs in the same shot as a lot of the characters. They just like walk into a room and then you just see the close up of the slugs, but it does feel realistic as if they're there. But I knew that it was a trick that they were going for to like, try to like solve and like not have to make a whole set with slugs everywhere. And
and they speed up a lot of the shots with the slugs in them to make them look like they're moving around and wriggling really quickly on the floor.
And it's effective.
It's effective enough.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing though that twisted me, because I think the whole movie we were pondering like what was so special about these slugs, because they don't really get down and tell you until about 45, maybe even 50 minutes into the film, that they actually have teeth and can bite you. But I thought that they were maybe acidic or something that made them, instead of just biting, like
I thought that like this well, he says that it's almost like a mucus trail that like snails leave behind, or slugs, and like I thought that was like acidic as well too. Like that's what I thought their whole weapon was. They're melting people, but no, they're just eating people.
Yeah, which
decomposing them like little by little.
But people, well, they weren't even decomposing. They're just straight up eating people. Even though people, like still like looked like they were melting. I guess when they got eaten. Specifically thinking about the young couple that's having sex very vigorously.
Out of the 3 like big action-packed scenes, I thought that was like the coolest one, just because of how like ridiculous, but also like nauseating it was. It was pretty graphic. Just seeing 2 naked bodies getting eaten by slugs is disgusting.
Yeah, and a lot of the effects work, actually, I have to say, was enjoyable. Like it was really well done. Yeah. Besides just the slugs, but a lot of the gore and horror special effects were really cool. The blood, definitely more 70s throwback. It looks like Dawn of the Dead's red paint, but that might have been a stylistic choice or a budgetary one.
The funniest death though I thought is the hand one. That like him chopping off his own hand was pretty gnarly, but just like the idea of just him running around like trying to slam it on stuff, and it just makes him fall over everything, get tangled up.
That scene also is the trailer on Amazon Prime for this movie, and that scene didn't make any sense whatsoever, because that's why I thought they were acidic, because his hand is almost stuck in the glove, but it's really just biting him, I guess. That scene made absolutely no sense. Very tight. But they went crazy with that scene where he's even chopping off his own arm just to get the slug off him.
I was expecting like a big slug, also like a mother slug, because there's also the early scene where this this health group is in the sewers, and then like he's using a rake or like something to dig out some of the chunks stuck in the pipes, and then like the slugs eat his thing. Like I was like, oh, was that a big one? No, it's like just multiple little ones. So
the slugs just took his crowbar, but they were so strong enough with their teeth. Like I don't know. I think there need to be more of a vision with the slugs. Like, is there this mother slug that they're all just like the minions for? I think we're gonna have to wait for maybe ants. There's got to be an ant movie, right? Because that's gonna be the one where there's a queen ant, and then the little ants just do the bidding. Here, slugs, I don't think they really nailed it on how slugs react in the wild. I think someone just saw a slug, or maybe even saw all the movies about every creature ever, and we're like, okay, we got to tap an untapped market here.
I love that on our episode where we watched Congo, we were complaining about the use of exposition just being way too much, and just like we're like, we could see this, we don't need it all explained. There's no explanation whatsoever in this movie. I'm just like, I wish I got that one scene of exposition here.
Yeah, and I don't think that the lack of exposition, lack of plot details, besides the main character's absolutely crazy way of dealing with everything, and I just felt like they kind of dropped the ball. Not in a not on purpose. Like they
Yeah.
just specifically dropped the ball because they're like, no one needs explanation about slugs, toxic waste, whatever. But then there's no actual like toxic properties of slugs, just in them being much larger than regular slugs and having carnivorous teeth.
One thing I was surprised to see at the opening titles of the movie was that it's written by Sean Hudson based on a novel. This book, I guess, was popular enough to get a movie adaptation, but this is seems like a weird premise for a book, and I want to see what the novel touches up on and everything.
So I don't know if it's like a children's novel, just throwing that out there. It might be a possibility, but I'm thinking that this is more one of those pulp kind of paperbacks from hell style books where
like it.
they just, all right, we got to dish out all these horror novels because people were really into those in, the late 70s and early 80s. So that might have been it, but I don't think this, I mean, I don't know. I'm speaking with no experience whatsoever, but I'm just going to assume that this wasn't a super popular book, but it was something that Roger Corman could easily get his hands on the rights.
Right, yeah. Interesting stuff right there. But like it was a popular enough book to get a sequel to, but just we never got the sequel to the movie.
There's a sequel to Slugs?
Yeah,
Slugs
book-wise,
2?
yeah.
Might have to delve even further, but I feel like if Sean Hudson probably was doing, more of the political intrigue in the Slugs universe.
That's what I'm
assume.
trying to figure out. Yeah, that's why I want to pick up that.
I think
novel.
the sequel is going to be way more, because they tried to go there in this film. They really tried to go like, oh, there's some intrigue about the toxic waste, and the mayor's like in on getting these people to sign a new contract. Oh, maybe they're, put the toxic waste there or something. But no, it didn't really work. The main character is almost too crazy in this film. He's not really crazy, but he's crazy, but he's chill at the same time. Like he's very relaxed about having to deal with this. Yeah. But like the sheriff doesn't want anything to do with it. Yeah. The sheriff would rather just eat his sloppy Joe. And like it just it felt like he tried to go there with it, the director, and it just kind of just stayed in this kind of pulp type way and created what some might think a great midnight movie though. It
ends well too. Like I love the ending, how just like everything explodes and then he comes out and then his wife's waiting for him, and just like I'm like, okay, why is she coming with all the ambulance and the cops put right on, and they're just like, let's go home. I'm like, what home? You have a bunch of slugs there and everything. Like they just blew up the sewers, I felt like.
I don't feel like they killed the root cause of all the slugs,
Well, also the movie does end with one last slug above the pipe.
Oh, those slugs too right there.
That's what they're going for. But who didn't make it home, unfortunately?
So the plumber from the beginning of the movie is kind of like the few scenes he's in, like as the comedic relief. Doesn't quite make it out of that final scene, and hilariously he has probably the second or maybe even first, like the best line in the movie, which was
I'm gonna go out for a while.
You belong?
No, I don't think so.
Where are you going?
Well, to tell you the God's honest truth, Brady and I are gonna go kill some man-eating slugs.
Oh, I trust these so-called killer slugs of yours aren't 18 years old and speak French.
Oh, no. But I tell you what, when I do get back, how about if we get naked and get crazy?
I'll be here.
he says to his wife before he leaves, and like she was like totally on board. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna go kill slugs? Okay."
Yeah.
like she's like, "All right, that's fine." And he's like, "I might not make it back." She's like, "Oh, you will. Don't worry."
Yeah.
No, he wasn't gonna make it back. I think she might have known he wasn't gonna make it back if you think about it, because she was okay with him going.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, if I make it back, all right, we should get naked tonight and get wild." Like he just said, and you're like, "Whoa, what's going on?"
She is
here?
on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, "Yeah, of course we'll do that." Like she was like, it was so nonchalant. She's like, "Yeah, what you said is not absolutely crazy. We'll definitely do that when you get home tonight."
Mm-hmm. I'd be
So-
sleeping on the couch. I know that if I pulled that one.
He might be doing it on the reg. Like
Yeah.
this might be something that he's doing on the reg. Just like, oh, he's just running around naked, getting wild.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like the young couple in this film that dies early on.
Right.
He might be trying to one up them. They might be competing in this small town for the most wild scenes in the film. But I think when you think about Slugs, I wasn't expecting the movie to honestly be as enjoyable as it was, especially with the trailer that Amazon provided, which is just a scene. Usually Amazon has like a trailer for most movies, but if they couldn't get a trailer, they'll just show you a scene in the movie. Clearly the worst scene in the movie with the gardener in his greenhouse trying to like take some slug eggs off the plant. Scene didn't sell me on the film at all, yet the film totally overperformed that scene, and it was actually very enjoyable. I think Slugs is a really cool midnight movie.
Pull it out of the dumpster. It's a really fun watch. Definitely is going to be something I hunt for on that home release circuit. It's just a great time, and the poster is badass as well. It's everything I wanted from a really bad 80s horror film, but then again, it's actually just not even that bad. It's just fun in general, I'd say.
Definitely. That's going to do it this week, guys, for Direct to Dumpster. Go ahead and click in the description below the Amazon affiliate link and support this show. We always appreciate the support.
After you do that, please subscribe if you haven't already. And the best way to stay up to date with us is by hitting that notification bell. And also leave a comment after you watch Slugs. Let us know what you thought about the movie.
Tune in next Thursday for a brand new episode of Direct to Dumpster.